From Forbes breaking news, Karine Jean-Pierre asked point blank about dreadful new polling for Biden. And I can only imagine she's going to lie and gaslight and weasel her way out of the entire thing. I mean, she is cloaked in several layers of identity politics. Oh, skin color, gender, LGBTQ status, all that stuff. You could even make the argument that she replaced Circleback Psaki because even as an awful...
The awfuls, the affluent white female liberals in the Democrat Party.
She just didn't have enough to combat all the criticism. But my name's Eric. This channel is called Report and Opine. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I'm absolutely begging you.
I'm begging you, please. Come on, please.
Because the algorithm is a beast. It would cost you nothing and it would help me a lot. But if you want to help me even more and spend some money, go ahead and buy my book, New York City 2020, on Amazon.com. That link will be in the description.
Thanks, Karine. Some recent polls, and I know you've said the president doesn't govern looking at polls, but some have shown his popularity eroding amongst young people and also...
His popularity eroding? When was he ever popular? Right? I mean, even back in 2020, I feel like it was kind of like, oh, just, swallow your pride and vote for this guy because Orange Man bad. So I don't think he was ever popular.
...non-whites, and it's not only related to Israel. Is he aware of that? Is he going to try to refocus his messaging or tweak it to speak directly to those groups that have felt left behind?
So look, and I...
No. Well, obviously, it's too late. It was corrupt from the beginning, and she even made the point of saying this is not just about Israel, but let's let, Blackity Ann here clean this mess up.
Look, going to be mindful about this upcoming election, not going to comment about that, the 2024 election, or how these polls will affect the 2024 election. Going to be super mindful, but more broadly,
Wait, so I'm just not going to say anything. Oh, the election's coming up, so I just can't talk about it. I can't talk. We all see it.
Nigga, did you know that I can see you?
Right? I guess this is better than them lying, cheating, and stealing, which she's probably going to do anyways.
We believe that young Americans support the president's agenda more broadly, right? In an overwhelming way. And the president has stood with young Americans on many of the issues that they care about, because you said beyond what's happening in the Middle East. And so when it comes to climate change, right, that's something that he's been very clear about and has been the most progressive president on that particular issue. And he's going to continue to do that. We understand as well that while the economy is turning around, and you've heard me talk at the top about the 15 million jobs.
This woman is just so smug. It is pathetic. It is insulting. And I don't know how they sleep at night. And I don't know if they truly do believe this and they're just really stupid and incompetent, or if it's pure evil. But of course, a combination of both. And the great George Costanza once said, it's not a lie if you believe it.
It's not a lie if you believe it.
Jobs created and what we've been able to do to turn around the economy, we understand that prices are too high and young people in particular are feeling that. And so we're going to continue to work on those issues. We're going to continue to do everything.
No, don't. Just don't. Just give up. Stop. Because when you say you guys are going to work, everything gets worse.
That we can to lower cost.
Well, worse for the general population, but I'm sure much better for her and Empty Suit Bo Biden and Kamala Harris and Nasty the Crypt Keeper Pelosi and the rest of the establishment hack shill losers who are destroying everything on purpose for their own benefit, even though they should just ride off into the sunset and take the W because you've already won.
I talked about the situation in the Middle East and how young Americans are feeling about what they're seeing in Gaza, and we understand how painful it is, this moment is for them. That's why we've been working so hard to try to get a deal that would lead us to a ceasefire, get hostages home, make sure that we get that humanitarian aid. Let's not forget that the U.S. has led the effort in
Okay, now she's rambling on about Gaza, even though I think the reporter was actually trying to get out in front of that, because she specifically said it's more than just the war in the Middle East. So she was trying to steer clear of that. And now this woman is just going to, of course, ramble on about that, even though I mean, their goal is never to fix the problem. It is only to cause more problems and then sell you the solution, and the cycle continues.
Humanitarian assistant into Gaza, and so going to be super mindful about the particular polling questions, but we do believe that we want to make sure that we have an economy that works for young people. We want to make sure.
Wait, Karine, can you tell us? Are you married to a woman? Or you were married to a woman? You were married to a woman, and you're black, right? You're a same-sex black house speaker. You're a historical figure. That's the only reason you got this job. That's the only reason that anybody, that you will blame anybody for being critical of your nonsense. But that ship sailed. It's all wearing away. Every single bit of it is collapsing.
That we listen to young people and hear them out. We want to make sure that we continue to work on some of the issues that the president has talked about, whether it's student debt relief. This is something that the president, it's not going to stop him from doing the work that he has been very clear about wanting to deliver for the American people, including young Americans.
This woman is almost as bad as Kamala. I don't know, maybe she might be worse, right? I mean, the word salad never ends, and that's why Joe Biden, as I like to call him, has surrounded himself with this mop top and Kamala Harris, who of course called him a racism, and then Jumanji Brown Jackson, who didn't know what a lady, a woman's is, right? So all of that stuff is completely ridiculous, but you can't call any of that into question because then that makes you a racism.
So
Messaging to minorities.
well, and what do you mean specifically about that?
Hispanic voters.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to speak to Hispanic voters or voters more specifically, but if you look at what the president has been able to accomplish for different communities, we have seen an economy.
How about one? Name one thing he's done for the community as a whole. Can you name one?
That he has created, right, that he's wanted to create, that is not a trickle-down economy, that is very much from the bottom up, middle out. And you've seen unemployment go down for the Hispanic community. You've seen wealth, when we talk about wealth gap, closing the wealth gap, and making sure that...
That's just not true. I'm no mathematician, I'm no economist, I'm no doctor or lawyer or science man. But that's just not true. Look at California and look at New York. The middle class has been entirely hollowed out. And it's only the elite political class, the media talking heads, and a bunch of people self-vaccinating under the bridge. There's no in between.
We're creating jobs for Latino, Hispanic communities, more specifically. I think we've created more.
Whoa, Latino and Hispanic. You mean Latinx? You mean Latine? Right? These people can't even keep up with their own propaganda, quite obviously.
Than 4 million jobs in this administration for that particular community. We've seen that as well for the black community, the African American community. We've been very consistent. You heard me lay out what we've been able to do for Asian Americans with the president's economic policy. So we are very, very committed to making sure that communities that are normally seen to be left behind are not left behind as it relates to the president's economic policy. You see that when he fights Big Pharma. When he's fighting Big Pharma and lowering costs, that helps communities that you're asking me about. When we're talking about junk fees, that helps communities that you're asking me about. And so when we're talking about expanding ACA, we expanded that for Dreamers, for DACA recipients. That's because...
Dreamers and the Hispanic community and all of these buzzwords, right? It's just never ending. It's never ending with these people, how they can just make up terms, throw them out there as if they're real, and expect you to buy it. But I do remain positive that it is quite literally all collapsing, right? You see Trump at the bodega, you see him at the Chick-fil-A, you see the 80,000 person rally versus Joe Biden has 24 people in the gymnasium. It's all coming to a head, and I've said a million times, but it's worth repeating. This will only boil down to whether voting is real or not.
And you heard this president say this last week, because he understands that DACA recipients, many of them are part of our military, right? They're part of what makes this country great. And so those are actions that the president's going to continue to take and continue to have those conversations and certainly message that. I have to go.
Okay, so it seems like she didn't answer the question really. She just rambled on for some time and then starts talking about DACA recipients, right? Do you think there's enough of them? Do you think there's enough DACA recipients in the country to save a failing, corrupt, empty suit hack president? And these people are all so despicable. It's very difficult to watch them. This lady and Newsom's wife and Bo Biden himself, obviously Kamalto, the list goes on. But even just looking at them, right? You can't unsee it. You can't put toothpaste back in the tube. These are basically lizard people lying to your face for power, and it is completely despicable. They're all criminals.